Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. And today, stop! Please just stop, Mr. Meltdown! I can't do it anymore! All we've been talking about lately is this pussy poser, nerd metal garbage! Rivers of Nile, the Careless Dowboys, Vildhid Sharda, god dang Sleep Token. Do they even count as metal? Do they even count as rock at this point? I don't know, but you talked about them and they suck. I just want a god dang metal album. Is that really too much to ask in the year of our Lord Kerry King 2025? Sweet Kentucky Fried Fuck, pull yourself together, man! I haven't seen you cry like this since the ending of Titanic! Fake news! I cried because we ran out of beer! And we still don't have any beer! Fine, whatever. Tell you what. Today, we'll talk about the latest full-length studio album, the 10th album overall, in fact, and the first in 7-8 years or so, from Swedish thrash metal and melodic death metal crew, The Hunted, entitled Songs of Last Resort. How does that sound?
That'll do fine, I guess.
Cool. All right. The Hunted. Full disclosure, right off the bat, I've never really been the biggest fan of The Hunted. I've never, actively hated them. I don't find them to be incompetent or offensive or anything like that. I just have consistently found them kind of underwhelming, kind of mid. I've always kind of seen them as a lesser version of At the Gates. A lesser version that, might I add, formed in the ashes of At the Gates in the mid-90s, featuring Adrian Erlandson and Anders and Jonas Bowler of At the Gates fame. I just kind of feel like they took the sound of Slaughter to the Soul and dumbed it down and made it more simplistic and accessible and mainstream, and it just never really scratched that itch. And especially when At the Gates came back in 2014 with At War of Reality, I mean, for me it was like, why would I settle for Diet At the Gates when Real At the Gates is back? As a result, Songs of Last Resort just wasn't really on my radar at all. I was not really that pumped. I was not really feeling the hype that some of y'all were feeling, and this didn't really change even as positive reviews began hitting the internet. I just kind of looked at most of them and rolled my eyes and scoffed and went, oh yeah, it's so good, oh yeah. But then curiosity got the better of me, so I said, screw it, let's sit down, let's listen to it, let's see what's going on. And to my genuine surprise, Songs of Last Resort is actually pretty good. Probably the most I've enjoyed an album from The Hunted probably ever. They sound legit kind of fired up. Frankly, I don't think I've ever heard them sound this urgent and pumped maybe ever, at least not since the very first couple of albums when they were really first hitting the scene. You've got the opening number, Warhead, charging out of the gates with pounding, pummeling percussive blasts and some really tight, sharp, crunchy riffage that does a good job maintaining that thrashy kind of heft and momentum and dipping its toes into some more classic kind of Swedish melodic death kind of territory. It's a very aggressive cut to the point of being oppressive, and it's oppressive to the point of having this almost kind of ominous, foreboding kind of feel to it as well. It just has this very menacing kind of aura. Following number, In Fire Reborn, has a little bit more pep and bounce in its step, some bigger grooves here, some more melodic swings and punches. Definitely leaning heavier into the more stark tones and energies and overall songcraft of At the Gates here. Hell, if this had a more grim, scuzzy production and it just had a little bit more punch and oomph, it honestly wouldn't have been out of place on To Drink from the Night itself. Then there's Death to the Crown, a fun, rowdy, raucous number for sure, with some surprisingly pretty versatile thrash metal guitar pyrotechnics here. You have these big, towering, pummeling, kind of slow-paced chugging guitars near the end, lots of frantic, wailing, almost Slayer-esque guitars, lots of vintage, old-school, dark, underground thrash metal, mellow death, Swedish metal, like early 90s Swedish death metal kind of riffage, all kind of mixed together into this venomous, riffy brew. I'm also happy to see and report that as the album goes on, it feels more and more comfortable throwing a few curveballs at me. Labyrinth of Lies, for instance, has some more dark, moody, almost sinister sounding kind of like mid-pace, heavy metal, mellow death kind of fusion shit going on. And then To Bleed Out is giving me like modern day In Flames style stuff, with a more prominent kind of hook and chorus surrounded by some more semi-regal epic guitar licks and twin guitar harmonies. And the closing number, Letters of Last Resort, is filled with these big, brutal, lurching grooves and towering drums and guitars with these atmospheric breaks with spoken word vocals and some spooky rumbling bass. And like right in the middle of the album too, you get stuff like Through the Fire and Hell is Wasted on the Dead, which is just edgy and dark and mean and pissy and vicious. Full-blown thrash metal. Ain't no reason Thrashin' Jackson is gonna be bitching about these cuts. If he is, we got a fucking problem. I like the concept and overall inspiration for the record as well. As the band writes, Songs of Last Resort was inspired by the Letters of Last Resort, handwritten letters from the Prime Minister of the UK sent to the commanders of the 4 British ballistic missile submarines and containing instructions for what to do in the event that the British government has been destroyed by a nuclear attack. I'm feeling a very strong, very enthusiastic 3.5 out of 5. If we got a few more curveballs here and there, like if it really went that extra mile and really wowed me, maybe we would be looking at a 4. But as it stands, 3.5 out of 5, coming from a band that I previously never thought much of, I think that's a win. I think that's a W. That's just me, though. What the fuck do I know? It's safe to say that people who have been following The Haunted and who genuinely like The Haunted will be impressed and satisfied with this album. I would unironically recommend this as a decent little gateway album for people wanting to get more into thrash or death or melodic death metal. I'm still not sure I would pick this over anything from At the Gates, but at least I feel like The Haunted finally has some shit going on. At least they're finally starting to pique my interest and deliver me something that doesn't just feel like diet At the Gates. Solid, strong, enthusiastic 3.5 out of 5. Check it out. It's fucking good, man. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I am not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this album? Do you not like this album? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. Join us on Discord, boom, more videos, and as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.